How did a boy abandoned by his father and born to a 15-year-old mother go on to build the world's largest online shopping empire? The story is really inspiring. Watch till the end and you'll learn valuable business lessons. Jeff Bezos was born in Mexico. His mother, Jackie, was a teenager, and his biological father, Ted, left soon after Jeff's birth. When Jeff was 4, his mother remarried Miguel Mike Bezos, a Cuban immigrant, and Mike adopted young Jeffrey. In Texas, Jeff showed an early interest in tech. By age 7, he had rigged up a door with wires to keep his younger siblings out of his room. His maternal grandfather owned a vast ranch near Cotulla, Texas, 25,000 acres of wide open sky. Summers spent running around that ranch instilled a love of nature. Even then, Bezos gazed at the night sky and imagined what lay beyond. Back in school, Jeff excelled. He graduated as valedictorian of Miami Palmetto High School in 1982. In his graduation speech, he spoke of humankind colonizing space and leaving Earth as a huge national park. He earned accolades as a National Merit Scholar and a Silver Knight Award winner. At Princeton University, he majored in physics before switching to electrical engineering and computer science. After graduation, Jeff Bezos went to Wall Street. By 1990, at only 26, he became the youngest vice president at the hedge fund Shaw. He was a rising star on the fast track with a lucrative career and a comfortable life in Manhattan. But he was not quite satisfied with his job. Amid stories of the internet's explosive growth in 1994, Bezos stumbled on a staggering statistic. Web usage was increasing 2,300% per year. He felt a surge of realization. Folding his hands, he imagined his own regret 30 years later, wondering if he'd missed the birth of the internet. This became his regret minimization framework, a mental tool he'd use to shape his destiny. He envisioned the internet as the future's marketplace, and he did not want to regret not seizing it. Late one night, Bezos left his secure job at Shaw and drove west with his wife Mackenzie and thinking some business plan along the way. They moved to Seattle and in 1994 set up a tiny startup in a garage to sell books online. The idea was audacious, an everything store where you could buy any book with a click. They initially named it Cadabra, but Bezos felt that there was something wrong with the name. He rebranded the venture Amazon after the Great South American River and deliberately picked the name starting with A so it would appear first in alphabetical listings. The word Amazon evoked the world's largest river, fitting for Jeff's vision of the world's largest bookstore. He even convinced his parents to bet on him. In 1995, Mike and Jackie Bezos sold stock and poured roughly $150,000 into the fledgling company. Early on, Jeff warned friends and investors that Amazon had only a 30% chance of success. He cautioned in hushed tones, a grave admission of the risk he was taking. Yet, in the spring of 1995, Amazon.com went live to customers. Books shipped from garage to doorsteps across the country and beyond. With $20,000 in weekly sales just 2 months after launch, a new chapter of Bezos' life was now unfolding. Little did the world know, the boy who once dreamed among the stars was on the cusp of rewriting retail history. In 1995, the internet was still strange and new. Jeff Bezos and his wife Mackenzie pulled books from shelves and packed them into boxes in that small Seattle garage, day after day. Friends wrote code and tested web pages on borrowed Sun workstations. The world outside had no idea what Amazon would become. Within weeks of launch, Amazon.com had sold books to people in 45 countries with no advertising, but plenty of word of mouth. But the press was skeptical. Legacy book retailers and investors wondered if this online store could ever survive. Bezos braced himself for skepticism. He often reminded early investors that 4 out of 5 startups fail, admitting, "We have more high-technology business to do than low-technology business." A modest code for expect turbulence. The dot boom of the late 1990s was heady and wild. Amazon hired thousands, constantly launching new products. By 1997, Amazon.com went public at $18 a share. Yet Bezos still warned shareholders of the peril. The company had turned Amazon into an all-purpose marketplace by 1998, selling CDs, videos, toys, and home goods. The one-time garage startup was being hailed as the future of retail. Then, the bubble burst in 2000. Amazon's stock plummeted with the wreckage of other tech companies. Bezos had already borrowed heavily to fuel growth. By 2000, he had $2 billion in loans and only $350 million cash on hand. Rival retailers were circling like sharks. Some said Amazon was crazy to expand so fast. Even Jeff's father had warned that selling books online was no cakewalk. Now that prophecy seemed to be coming true. For a moment, it felt like the grand gamble might fail. In 2001, facing collapse, Bezos did the unthinkable. He began ruthless cost cuts. Amazon closed some warehouses and laid off about 14% of its staff. The company's problems played out on cable news. Some anchors taunted Bezos as the young CEO who built America's biggest virtual lemonade stand. McKinsey stayed tirelessly by his side, managing finance records and hugging team members through layoffs. Belief is a powerful fuel. Despite his own doubts, Bezos did not panic. He recalled his regret minimization mindset. At age 80, would he regret giving up now? The answer was clear: no. He plowed forward. He invested in Amazon Web Services in 2002, betting that renting computing power would be Amazon's next gold mine. By 2003, Amazon emerged from the ashes with a $35 million profit. The storm had passed, and Jeff Bezos smiled at the dawn. Rebirth followed innovation. In 2005, Bezos introduced Amazon Prime, a 2-day shipping program that turned casual shoppers into lifetime customers. 2 years later, in 2007, Hune unveiled Kindle, a portable e-reader, to put books in everyone's pocket. Each gamble paid off, and the company's culture of customer obsession became legend. Yet, Bezos was not a man to stop at books or devices. By the mid-2000s teens, Bezos had built more than a store. He'd built an empire. Amazon had weathered every crisis. Sales soared from $10,000 in 1995 to hundreds of billions by 2020. In 2017, he even topped the world's richest list, his fortune just touching $100 billion. Reporters marveled at the meteoric rise of the kid from the garage. But growth bred scrutiny. Amazon's factories and corporate tactics drew criticism. In 2018, Senator Bernie Sanders accused Amazon of treating workers poorly and dodging taxes. Bezos did not take the attack lying down. By October 2018, Amazon raised its minimum wage to $15 an hour, a move Sanders celebrated. The confrontation showed Bezos that power brings enemies. Meanwhile, traditional rivals were on the ropes. Once mighty retailers like Sears and Toys R Us had fallen. Barnes & Noble's CEO had pitched a cozy partnership to Bezos in the mid-1990s. Bezos quietly declined, saying, "No thanks." In 2017, Amazon dominated half the book market, while Barnes & Noble struggled. The bookstore Bezos started was killing bookstores. It all built toward one question: what's next for this insatiable pioneer? The business world had watched Bezos transform from shy Wall Street quant to ruthless industry titan. But as the new decade dawned, Jeff was eyeing an even grander stage. He had broken records, but in his heart, he still believed humans belonged among the stars. The store was secure. Now, the cosmic frontier awaited. In the year 2000, when internet mania was at its peak, Jeff Bezos quietly founded a second venture, Blue Origin. His goal was nothing less than making human spaceflight routine. He named it Blue Origin as a tribute to Earth, the blue planet that is humanity's origin and must be preserved. Every launch fueled two dreams: to venture outward and to save the world he's leaving behind. Blue Origin moved slowly, almost stealthily. For years, it was hidden behind legal names and hush-hush progress. In 2006, Bezos bought a swath of West Texas, a private launch site under enormous skies. He kept a low profile, funding Blue Origin with personal stock sales and guidance from NASA veterans. The company tested suborbital rockets, suffering failures and delays. One prototype crashed in 2011, a public setback that only steeled Bezos' resolve. He took to wearing lucky cowboy boots to every launch. From then on, faith, pragmatism, and Texan grit all at once. Space race rivalry loomed. Billionaire Elon Musk blasted rockets to orbit. Richard Branson invited wealthy thrill-seekers on spaceplane trips. Bezos quietly cornered the other frontier: sheer reliability. In 2015, Blue Origin's New Shepard rockets soared past the Kármán line of space and then landed upright, reusable for the first time. It was a demonstration that routine space travel might one day happen. Bezos grinned watching that flawless landing, a boyhood dream unfolding. By the end of the decade, Bezos was more open about his mission. He spoke of space colonies and moving factories off Earth, ideas he first voiced as a teenager. He explained that Blue Origin's orbital rocket, later named New Glenn, as would be many times larger than New Shepard, meant to carry satellites and people farther into space. The pace accelerated. Bezos funded Blue Origin by selling roughly $1 billion of Amazon stock each year. The culmination came on July 20th, 2021. From the arid Texas desert, New Shepard carried Jeff Bezos himself. Alongside him rode his brother, aviation pioneer Wally Funk, and a teenager named Oliver, as the rocket dipped back for a gentle landing. In 2013, he paid $250 million in cash for the Washington Post. Amazon itself continued to grow, acquiring Whole Foods in 2017 and streaming MGM in 2022. He was often called the richest man on Earth, a title burdened by billionaires' expectations. Blue Origin finally broke Earth's orbit on January 16, 2025. Soon after, Blue Origin sent its first all-female crew into suborbital flight, showing Bezos' dream, reaching a new generation. But fame brings examination. Critics noted Blue Origin's slow pace compared to SpaceX and grumbled about Bezos' tax strategies back on Earth. In Bezos' personal life, the headlines kept coming. After 25 years, he and Mackenzie divorced in 2019, splitting his Amazon stake. Now, Mackenzie Scott vowed to give away half her $37 billion share to charity, and eventually he found love with former TV host Lauren Sanchez. They married in a lavish June 2025 ceremony in Venice. The founder who once feared missing out on the internet's rise was now chasing even bigger questions. Jeff Bezos contemplates his place in history. He built the world's largest store from a riverside idea, and he's helping craft a gateway to a new frontier. But on the edge of this story, one question remains open. Will Jeff Bezos be remembered as the man who built the world's biggest store, or the one who opened the door to a new one? This was the story of Jeff Bezos,